Hello, the next installment on doing the hilting of the Wootz Kindjhal. I've let this sit for 4 hours. I have drilled through the other side here for the holes. As you can see, they're drilled. So now we're going to mix some more of the JB weld and put that this scale in. It pretty much clicks in there onto the tank. And then once that's done, we'll go ahead and how do you say it, pare it all down. So you can see that fits in there nice and clean, no gaps. So here again, it's all roughed up. So we're gonna have to mix up some more of the old magic stickum here. Okay, that should be enough there. And some more of the what was that song? The ink is black, the page is white. Oh, I'm getting old. Yeah. I like the JB weld. Now, digressing, going back, way back, when I first got started in custom knife making, back in the late 1960s or 1970s. God, I've been doing this a long time. The adhesive to go to, a lot of people went with, was Acroglass rifle bedding compound. That stuff, it sticks, boy. It was sticky. But I don't think anybody uses it anymore. Bob Lovelace used to use it for a while. Then he got involved with this really neat epoxy stuff. But he was a character. I loved that man. He was a very good man. Somewhat gruff, somewhat, you know, he was just Bob Lovelace. We used to get kicked out of restaurants together. So anyway, let's get this thing all gooped up here. Get it all nice and gooey. So get it all nice and covered there. Got it covered over here. And got it covered back there. What you don't need, you'll just squeeze out. Don't be stingy with it, but you don't want to overdo it either. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this thing in and go back, and I already preset the clamps here again. As you can see, it's squeezing out. Open them up a little bit more. A little bit more. Here we go. Clamp this right there. Start the squeeze. We'll come back and snug that up later after we get this one on. We'll do this one here. Get open that up a little bit more too. Got that squeeze. Now check it to make sure you got enough stickum in there. You make sure it's squeezed out. What you're looking for is, oh, clean up here, watch this. Take a little shot of WD-40. Rub your hands. Okay. Paper towel does wonders. Takes it right off. At a nice point in time, takes it right off. You can also, if you want to get technical about it and you don't have a problem with it, you can coat your hands with dish soap and let it dry. And that was an old trick I learned from a leather worker friend of mine who's since passed by the name of Scott Jekwa. He was a big-time leather guy. He has told me about that trick many years ago. But check everything out to make sure. This is the side I already did. You see it's all hardened up. That's right here, I already did that. And everything looks pretty good. Now I'm going to wipe this blade down a little WD-40 too. WD-40 is pretty good stuff, but I'll tell you the best stuff I ever used is that snake oil stuff, Ballistol. Oh boy, that stuff's slick. It's slicker than what I usually say. That's too colorful for a PG-13 channel like this one is. But we'll just go ahead and frame this up and let this, you know, do its thing here. But all in all, this, like I said, we're about 90% done now. Tomorrow, after this sets up, we will do the pins through the other side. I'll pin it after I pare this down. These sections here have to be all pared down so it's nice and even. Then I start rounding everything out. Everything's somewhat standing proud, which is what you want at this point in time, because you don't want to take too much off and have to rearrange everything. And besides, that would be a real hard thing to correct, because it's easier to take stuff off than it is to put it back on. There are ways you can get around that if you get creative, but you don't want to do that unless you absolutely positively have to. There's an old saying that a master craftsman makes mistakes, but the mistakes he makes look like they should be there. So you make a mistake that doesn't look like a mistake, and that's the key. Most of the stuff is thinking things through, and whatever you do, don't be like me and rush anything, because rushing is not good. It's the last thing you want to do is rush anything, because you start to get in a hurry, you start making small mistakes into bigger mistakes, and those big mistakes into worse mistakes. And sometimes if you rush it, you can ruin the piece, and you don't want to do that. Let me readjust this clamp here. Actually, it's not too bad. Let me adjust this one. So just take your time. Just sneak it up a little bit. Like I said, you don't want to snug these down to the point where you actually squeeze all the adhesive out, and then there's no adhesive at the joint, and it doesn't do anything. Now, there are other ways you can attach grip scales. One is, I'll go back to the old master himself, Hrisoulas. That man doesn't get 1/10 the amount of credit. It seems like all the old guys, like Loveless. Yeah, Loveless got a lot of credit, but not what he's got to do, because he basically started the custom knife industry. Him, Doc Hagen, Dalton Holder, Hrisoulas, the old grandfather of them all, Bill Skagel. But Hrisoulas, Mr. Hrisoulas had a really nice way of dovetailing the handle scales in. He used a lot of elk antler, and mostly elk, I do believe. Elk, some moose, and some white-tailed deer. But he would cast his bolsters and his pommels on the knife directly out of aluminum, and then clean them up, and then fit the scales into the dovetail, which is a very secure way of doing it. I think he pinned them twice and finished them up, and that was it. They are not coming off. You can do that. You can pin them, you can thread them on. I've seen people do what they call invisible rivets, where they undercut these into the surface of the scales and the mating surfaces, fill it up with the resins, and let the resins make the rivet. I'm not too crazy about that, but the people that do it say it works, and if they say it works, it's good enough for me. I would not hesitate doing that with Cutler's resin. I'm not so crazy about the synthetics on this, but the Cutler's resin I wouldn't have no problem doing with it, because I know how strong that stuff is, considering I've got shamshirs and scimitars as well as tulwars that are filled with that, that's hold the blade in on the stub tang. They've been holding that blade for thousands of years. I've been doing it that way, and it goes back to almost day one of the knife making, back when they were using it on a rock. But be that as it may, anyway, that's where we are in this project. Other than that, thank you so much for your time. Have a pleasant evening. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. And in a few more installments, this is going to be done, and we'll have something really neat to look at. Hopefully, I don't screw it up. But it's never too late to make a mistake. Believe me, it's never too late to do that. And the fun thing about this stuff is you never know what you get until you get it, and then it's too late. So if you like it, great. If you don't like it, you're stuck with it. So as I said before, you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. So have a pleasant evening. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button if you aren't subscribed. May the wise Lord bless and keep you, and you are safe. Bye-bye.